It's,
All right, let's get on with the show. Now, today, Strange World, Season 1, Episode 11.
oh, nice.
Yes, 11. We are
Yeah.
at 11 episodes, not counting our special episodes in between and our pilot. So, last week we talked about realities, hidden code from pyramids to programming. This week we're going to continue on that again. And the question that we're going to ask is there a message, a debug message that is meant for humanity to discover? And are we meant to hack the simulation? Tonight, we're going to explore something subtle and potentially world shifting, but not from an academic journal, not from a government leak, but from a YouTube comment section. So, a listener, Jade Moore, Jademore, 7282. I like to spice it up and call it Jedamore. 7282 dropped a comment under a radar scan video on Egypt that we posted up, and she wrote,
Yeah, I don't know
radar
whether he or she. I just assume.
Jedamore sounds like a girl.
Yeah.
Radar, radar tomography has identified cylindrical pillars extending to about 1.2 miles deep beneath the Great Pyramid. Obviously, not natural, man made. What if we are living in the endish days of the fourth world? What if these buried structures are linked to the Anunnaki or to the forgotten cycles of civilization? So today we're going to break this down. The radar data that she's referring to has not been discredited. It's been ignored. Two very different things. But it shows engineered vertical structures deeper than most commercial drills can even reach. The layout is geometric, intentional, and possibly beyond reckoning. So the question becomes, are we finding these things out today because we are looking harder or because we have just been given access?
I really don't feel good. This place getting a
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions. And over to the tea drinking Michael.
Hello.
Morning,
Okay.
guys. I want to just introduce you guys if you're just new to Strange World. This is the episode. This is a series on supernatural confessions that we talk about strange things, paranormal stuff, all the woo, heebie-jeebies that may not necessarily be linked directly to ghost, which is what we do on Friday. So this is the discussion where we have everything else from conspiracy to hidden law to possibly things that many of you might find strange. And with me on this show is my co-host in the middle. That's Dr. Yong Kwan Yu, who is both straddling the ethereal as well as the science. And we have Mary Mike, an extreme corner on the right. We call him the AI Tanki because he will go into a trance mode, consult the AI, and then comes back with new wisdom. So what do you have for us today, AI Tanki?
Okay. So there is. I think in recent times there's been a lot of interest with the pyramids of Giza,
Yeah.
and I think today even the new discovery that we've been talking about is now giving new meaning, to tourists who will go there and take pictures, not realizing or knowing that there actually is below the ground an entire structure there that only was discovered like what? Okay, according to the news, it seems to be a 2024 2025 discovery. Was it?
Yeah. I mean, they already know they released the information this year, but it was discovered a couple of years back.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's the thing, right? Like it was discovered. It was actually discovered much earlier. It's just that we don't know. Maybe government decide that no, don't say it, don't tell people yet. And then this year, too bad. For some strange reason, the world itself was allowed to know and discover this without the intervention of the eye in the sky. or the eyes in the sky. Yeah. So do you think, right, this type of discovery is actually timed? Like there is like somewhere up there, maybe even outside of the membrane of this universe, something or someone is timing all these discoveries or gatekeeping the discoveries, because it's um I don't think it's something that you can hide when it's so big, the cylindrical pillars and the caverns and all the different rooms beneath it. It's not something you can just hide, right?
Yeah. Well, Dr.
Yeah.
Young, what do you think?
Well, I'm still, we mentioned about this before, right? That this one has come, and then we are waiting for the excavation, which will not happen in the near future. So I'm still waiting with bated breath about what comes next. Whether would they use the
Oh,
over
okay.
at could it be Gobliki Tepe or some other agriculture site, and then what would we find over there, and then that would also like substantiate, although we can excavate here. If they can find different type of structures, that means this is definitely not an error. If they went to other archaeological sites and then they find also similar structures, that would add credence to something, and I'm still waiting for that. Yeah.
Like, do you think they will do that, or do you, or okay, maybe the question should be, okay, from a scientific or research point of view, right? What do you think actually should be done? Let's say there is no restriction, no nothing. Like, how do you think a research like this would actually go?
I'm not that familiar with like geological things, but I would say that the next thing maybe ground penetrating radar, and then if there is if there's a way, and we do know that there is theory that the tomb of the birds actually leads down to the underground caverns. This was actually even before this discovery. The going, how to say, the going theory. And for a good few years, the tomb of the birds, it had a gate and it was locked. But for some reason, we talk about, is this time for discoveries to happen? When I went to the tomb of the birds to rescue my spirit guide, for some reason the door was unlocked, and it was locked for don't know how long. When the time was like, it was unlocked, and it's like, so I don't know what to make of that as well. But I experienced what I experienced, and perhaps what should be done is that now that the door is open, why not we enter and see what we can find within? That will be, I think, the first step.
Okay. Well, I believe that the world is constantly evolving. Mankind is constantly evolving from the dawn of time till now, and we have like 4 different worlds, 4 different civilizations over and over again. There's a reset. We start to evolve. I think there is a play at work where we humans are pawn pieces in this entire world, simulated or otherwise, and we are constantly growing and being wiser and more knowledgeable, open up to the higher consciousness. And if you believe what some of the books are saying, some of the seers are saying, that we are moving into a new era, a new realm, where we are this next 1,000 years we're going to develop psychic abilities and we're going to have hive minds. So that is itself an evolution of mankind compared to what we were. And even science and technology was given to us when we are ready for it. So if you think about this just like a computer game, we have now we are level 20 or level 10, and we have access to new maps.
Yeah,
So I feel that's what it's like in this world.
like, do you think we are actually slowly learning and starting to kind of access, parts of the system that, like, right now, it was, or rather, it was locked before, and now, because it seems to be a recurring theme, and like, this pyramid stuff, Dr. Yon's personal experience. It seems like um the deeper we delve into things like this, it seems like we are able to actually unlock new stuff, not even on a personal level, but also universally, I guess, globally.
So I think there are things already planted in this earth a long time ago, and we are only going to discover. Some people imagine the pyramids, Egypt, the old Egypt, the pyramids and all that to be very sci-fi, very futuristic. In fact, we mentioned the word Anunnaki just now. Back then, 4,000 years BCE, they had advanced technology, and I think some artists' interpretation of the civilization back then had flying spacecraft, very 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 Wakanda. Right? Yeah, very future world. So if we borrow that imagery of Wakanda hidden in plain sight within this earth, then that could be something that is what is a reflection of reality. We have that hidden in plain sight, but we just can't see it until somebody break the veil, or there's a character, right? Maybe either for the good or for the bad, leading this charge. And that's a very biblical tale as well. There's always that one coming down to save mankind. So we need that one person to be the key to unlock this information, but also to quantify time works very differently in the spiritual world and in our world. We think we discover all this now, we get excited. It could be beyond our human lifetime, more than 100 years before another discovery is made. So when we talk about change of an era, it's usually by 2000 year mark. So in 2012, there was a switch of the era, the planetary alignment change. I think it's the age of what? I can't remember age.
Aquarius.
Now it's age of Aquarius, right? Now it's age of Aquarius, and it's another 2000 year. So you are not going to get all that discovery now in our lifetime. Little bit, but maybe our children's children by then would have new technology that we did not have, like how we had the internet when our great grandparents didn't have that.
Yeah, and taking cue from what you shared, right, Eugene, the fog of war,
Yeah.
if you're playing a game, is lifted.
Yeah.
And part of that, how that got lifted, right? And you mentioned 2012, and that was when we talked about the Schumann resonance previously, right? And then it was believed that after 2012, the predominant baseline frequency of the Schumann resonance elevated from 7.83 to 14.32, and this allowed more spontaneous awakenings, more spiritual insights to happen to the general people. So there are more people who are in touch with their spiritual self, who are able to sense more, feel more, higher sixth sense, and that perhaps lifts more veils. And when more people lift more veils, we get to see more perspectives. And when we talk about the key, right, that one person to open the key, it brings me to the what Matthias Di Stefano did. Like he did many sites creating and using different keys to unlock different doors. Perhaps he may be the one or part of the many, the ones that are representative of our generation.
Wow. Okay, so according to Google, right, we are now in the age of Pisces,
Oh, Pisces.
and it looks like we are on the way to moving into the age of Aquarius. That's the next
Okay.
that's the next upcoming let me see. I just saw something quite interesting. Okay. Using the current IAU boundaries, we've been in the age of Pisces for about 1,500 years and have about another 600 years before we hit Aquarius. This is from Reddit Ask Astronomy. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to throw in a little bit more is that
Sure.
if the Schumann resonance elevated since 2012 to now 13 years, if we already have that, wind behind the sails for us to grow spiritually, right, to learn more, access more.
Yeah.
And what if we, meditate more? What if we explore spiritual writings more? And then that could, accelerate our growth, our ascension, for us to see bigger parts of the map and to be better versions of ourselves.
Nice. I mean, it's interesting also, like even among the three of us, we are actually in the headspace where we are looking for enlightenment in like three different directions apparently.
Yeah. Mike is doing it through tea. Ascension through tea drinking.
Yeah, I'm like hippie, not because of the conversation. Now I need to go and find is there such a thing as pure tobacco? So that I can counter this.
Oh my god.
There is. And tea. So I created this WhatsApp group. It's called Tea and Tao. So They are actually people who discuss Tao Te Ching, Lun Yu, and all the spiritual classics, right? And they discuss it over tea. And I've heard of many people that tea itself is a pathway for spiritual ascension because it either increases your vibration or allows your thought processes to get clarity or somehow. And tea is a way, perhaps
Oh.
not weight loss tea, but a different type of tea.
Oh man. Okay. So when I say weight loss tea, okay, it's not that I drink the tea or metabolism increase and then I burn all the fat. It's actually tea, and it's very in line with what Dr. Yong is saying. It's actually tea that helps my chi and my yin and my yang to align properly so that my body is actually moving along. That is the angle that the tea that I'm drinking is actually doing. So it's not like miracle pill, I drink I suddenly slim down. No. Because I don't just so like for example, I've been drinking
You
it
gave
for
me
like
hope there for a while, Mike.
no, your one you have to go and check your 八字 and all that and then see your elemental makeup. Because so even now I realize that my moods are not too crazy. And I don't lose my temper as much with my daughter also. from this. So it's not just helping me to do weight loss. I think it's really like balancing me in that sense. Yeah, that's how it works lah.
This feels like a extended promotion for tea. So if you want to lose weight, not have temper, be intelligent and ascend to the heavens, click now to buy tea from us. Is that- Where's the link?
We need to go in a 1-800 Shifu, find one 八字 guy, right? Go and assess everyone's elemental imbalance, then prescribe.
You should go and join T and Tao. Man. Can we join T and Tao? Is that something that anyone can just join?
Exclusive invite only.
Yeah. Okay, Mike gets to go first. He's a tea drinker more than me.
Got special entry for Mike and Eugene. Yeah, that's the lobby behind.
Friends of Dr. Young. Drop name.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Where were we before the tea conversation?
Okay, the video game thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it appears that reality now is very very similar to how a video game loads up, right?
Yeah.
So it begins to render the moment we get close. So the specifics is that the moment we get close, it can be intentional, it can be unintentional. But once we do get close, that fog of war that we've been talking about begins to clear itself. So on planet Earth, with the way the world has been researching on its own, we have different sacred sites like Borobudur, Angkor Wat, and Giza that have opened up to us, and they have been existing for years already. But only the pyramids of Giza is revealing itself as an access point. And I personally wouldn't be surprised if all these other these other places begin to show new underground caverns.
That's what Dr. Young is expecting, right? He's waiting for that.
Yeah. But you also would see like perhaps maybe it's not for everyone, because we also know that these particular sites have spiritual people who go there to do what they do.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah, and there must be some significance, right? Like even in Southeast Asia, the different, the Karamat sites, the ancestor shrines, and spirit portals, and all the sacred sites that these people say that okay, there's something here that we can, when we sit there and we pray, we get connected somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's say we try to turn this into something that is more technology like.
Okay.
Do you think that these things that we are accessing, right, is like a real-time system response? When we say that the earth has an operating system, and we mentioned before that these things are possibly interfaces in how we connect to the planet or even the universe itself, right? Do you think that at this point we as we live, we are actually witnessing a very tangible real-time system response?
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
While I'm
Our response.
digesting it first, Dr. Yong, you
I'm
can
sorry.
take this one.
I masticate and then let it enter my 4 different bowels, like a ruminant first. Yeah. um, yeah, Mike, speak English sometimes.
If Dr. Yong asks you to speak English, you know you have gone on the fire already.
Okay.
Okay, so what? Let me try to summarize that. What you're trying to say is that, uh, imagine the world reality is like an operating system,
Yes.
right?
Also, or it's a program. It's a software.
Yeah, it's a software that has already been coded, and there are things already built into the software,
Yeah.
and that
correct.
we as humans are only starting to discover the features that has been embedded in this software for millennia, right?
Yeah.
And there's a question to that.
The question to that is, right, is this is this real time response,
Okay.
or is this kind of like these are predestined that okay, eventually at this point in time you will be the one
Okay.
to see this,
So
like, is
real.
this something that anyone can just access, or is it
Okay.
preordained?
Okay. So real time access, as in, yeah. So I think the question that we're asking here is it all by design that we are discovering this now? Like the great architect has determined that previously none of you could find. There was no the one. There was no one that could have found it because there's no technology that existed, or there's no that man who with a spark of brilliance, with a muse coming to tell him, go and scan under the pyramid, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Uh, so it's all by design. And the other option that the question you're asking us is humanity just free balling, random balling motion in this world, and then we found something.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning towards the first one. That is all by design. There's a great architect putting things into place, and we find it when we need to find it. But within that discovery, there are a few people that were given the direction. Because in Strange World, we believe that there are times where we do things because we are spiritually connected to our higher consciousness, and all these random great ideas that I have, starting certain things, doing certain things, going against the grain, was not purely coincidence. It was not by my own natural brilliance. It was a voice from the other side, right? So I think within that predetermined design path that the world has, call it destiny, there are a few people, chosen one, that were given the insight to work towards that. If you just throw back to a discussion that we had very much earlier on in the earlier part of Strange World episodes, Mike said sometimes he doesn't listen to that voice, and he realized, that there was a price to pay. And I also shared that I listen to the voice, and no matter how crazy that voice is, it works for me. And that's why we talk about people like Bill Gates and some other great inventors. Perhaps they were able to access this higher consciousness, and they became the one to do it. So to summarize Mike's very convoluted question, I believe it's destiny, it's design, and there are just a handful of people chosen to discover it.
And I also do my attempt to Richard Feynman this, right? Is that using back the analogy of the game, right? What if this game is a MMR or RPG,
Yeah.
and there are like 7 or 10, players who can level up, right? And they are the chosen ones.
Yeah.
But somehow the source code has been edited at the right time, and now all the NPCs are now like, ding, there's something more than to this life, right? And then they start going away from their set routine path, right? Cutting trees lah, go and plant plants.
Like the
and now
blue
they
shirt
are-
guy from the free guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is that probably what's happening, that all the NPCs are getting awakened right now. And then
Did someone hack the system? Is that a hack to the system?
was it a hack? Was it a glitch? Was it preordained? Was it already this code was already set 2,000 years ago, or did someone else come in to introduce a new line of code?
Like those old games where you can do a hashtag, you call it, last time it's not hashtag, that's called pound, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's a
I know what
good
you're
day
talking
to die. What game was that? It's a good day to die, then you cannot die. You just
The what? I think
doom.
Warcraft 2, is it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Or Starcraft?
So a
yeah.
code, a
Cheat
hacking
code.
is a cheat
Yeah,
code
yeah.
that was already embedded in the design of
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
game,
yes, yes, yes.
and people
Yeah,
discovered the
StarCraft.
cheat code. Yeah.
Yeah, power
Oh,
overwhelming.
yeah.
Breathe deep. What
Wow.
mine is mine.
Yeah.
What's the one?
You see all the
Wow.
nerds.
Wow. Wow. Well, I went even deeper. I thought you were talking about Game Shark. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, the game chat codes. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
last time the PlayStation Game Shark,
Yeah,
you have to buy this device, then you plug behind your PlayStation, then you can literally edit the
Oh no! Ours were not. Ours was codes that were already embedded in the game that we just have to
uh,
find and type it in the OS.
yeah.
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 Oh. Yeah, I was going to go to the second question, which is even worse actually.
Okay, go ahead. Hit me with it. Hit me
Okay.
with it today.
Yeah,
Today,
yeah.
Dr. Mike in the house.
Okay, so could doing okay. So we say practicing spiritualism.
Yeah.
Okay, I would just leave that term very vague, so you all can just kind of imagine what it is according to your own knowledge. So could spiritual practices or even spiritual protocols be the equivalent of two-factor authentication in order to
Mm.
invoke a specific reality?
Okay.
That would be the question. Like you say, could this practice be the hack in order to unlock
Okay.
those things? Yeah.
So two-factor authentication, meaning there needs to be a confirmation. So if I were to understand and interpret this correctly, we have our mortal selves. We are humans. We have mortal self. We function as a mortal in this world, doing physical, tactile thing. But that alone is not enough to unlock the secrets of the universe.
Yes.
Just by our more mortal, rational, educated brain is not enough. We need the second part, which is the spiritual awakening, together with our mortal body and our spiritual mind, going in together to understand all this topic is the key
Yeah.
to unlocking it, and therefore
Yes.
the two-factor authentication theory.
Yes, correct. Yeah, because I take it from the point of knowing that yes, there are people like us who are hungry, and we are not just hungry for this type of knowledge, but we are actually open to it. As opposed to another group of people who are perfectly fine with not knowing any of this, and even if you present with them like this, literally
They
is
can't unlock shit lah,
an
basically.
anomaly that does not exist, and it just no, it is not
Yeah.
real. That kind of thing. Yeah. So like this separation, uh, between these two is like the two FA lah, which means that those who are chosen are typically more spiritually inclined, or they will grow eventually from being a skeptic into being a believer, right? Like that is where the two FA is in that sense.
I hate to say this to you, but I think, ladies and gentlemen watching this show, Strange World, we are your chosen ones.
No lah,
No,
I,
no.
I would say everyone who's listening to
We have
to
the
us,
OTP.
no, I would say that everyone, because okay, so let's say we base this on how YouTube works in
Yeah,
general, right?
yeah.
Or rather social media now,
Yeah.
with its ability to listen, right? It will push the content that we create to the ones who will likely be interested. So if they have an interest and they are listening to this and everything is supernatural confessions, they also can be the chosen ones, because there is a affinity, there's a
Okay.
there's a
So
interest in the spiritual. Because I can tell you, my dad, he's very sweet. He tries to listen in, but he
so
won't
cute.
believe. So he will just sit there and then he will just hear and then he'll fall asleep.
but we are in his subconscious whispering to him.
Maybe lah, maybe lah.
Subliminal messaging.
maybe lah, yeah, but yeah, he's no, I can see in his eyes. Nope.
All right. So on average, we have about 1,000. I'm looking at the stats for our Strange World videos. About 1,001. Thousand. Yeah, about I'm slightly above 1,000, between 1,000 to 1,005 listeners on Strange World. We have 1,500 awakened ones. in Supernatural
Possible
Confessions.
chosen ones.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, one day, one of you will unlock something You know, or maybe one of you become the Antichrist. We don't know.
What if
You
he-
have been knighted. Where's my camera? I just want to throw in
I wasn't
another
ready
thought,
for
right?
this. I was not ready for that.
I want to throw in another thought.
Yeah.
Is that
Uh,
although I talked about the 2012, the baseline frequency has increased.
Yeah.
But what if the codes are always there
Yeah.
and then available for everyone to touch, to learn, to understand,
Yeah.
to ascend? But because of the noise that we experience in our lives, right? The what we were prescribed to be, the secrets to success, or the things that will make us happy, the 5 C's. What if these things are just merely the noise that take us away from, from hearing those things, like the intuition, right? Because we're always caught up with all the mundane. We caught up with our, our self-limiting beliefs, our self-doubt, our emotional traumas, our baggages. And our radio station is just so messed up. We cannot tune the frequency to what we need to hear.
Yes.
But
This
once
is,
we clear that, right, then we get to ding, I hear you, man. And then that intuition, that God stands for the guidance of the divine. Okay, and we have that within us, right? And then it can
right.
guide us about the path we need to go, the things we need to learn, the person who we will become. Yeah.
Wow.
This reminds me of the 4-day meditation retreat that I had. Remember on the hill, the mountain top in a cave where there's no internet, nothing at all. I just sat there and meditated, and that's when I can literally hear water drop, leaves falling, and there's a certain level of awareness. Like I can start hearing voices almost. Some people will say, "Oh, you're hallucinating," because there's nothing to do in the cave. But I believe that back then in the olden civilization, when people had nothing to do, they could connect to the divine. They could hear the divine because there's no noise, there's no internet, there's no clutter, there's no television, there's no advertisement, there's no one trying to force down a certain agenda down your throat every other day. Yeah, but we kind of
Yeah.
lost that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, yeah.
sorry, I go, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, definitely lah. Like, so if anyone do not know, I also do private tuition. I have my own school, and I can tell you that whenever I tell the kids to go on break, correct, the break is meant for them to rest their minds. You guess what they're doing?
Homework.
Oh wow! I wish
Enrichment.
immediately Roblox. What are they playing? I don't know what
Oh.
is it. Oh no! Now it's Stumble Guys. I can hear the music. I'm like, these people are going on break. They're not. They're like, okay. So from my perspective, is that these kids are supposed to be resting their brains and not overstimulating it. You see, but that's the thing with them. You see, even from like the current young now, the way they are training, right, is that they they are overstimulating constantly, and I find like maybe it's not even the entertainment, it's just the act of overstimulating the mind that is creating the noise and maintaining the noise in the heads. And because this is already kind of ingrained from young, right, when they get older, the dopamine addiction from all of these things starts to kind of manifest into things like watching more Netflix, playing more video games. My hobbies have now become from learning to play the guitar into video games and YouTube, and all the stuff that the brain already perceives as this is a positive experience, instead of asking them to sit down and quietly listen to themselves, which is something that I remember I used to do that when I was younger. So like I always had an hour where I wasn't allowed to watch TV back in the day, and that was my time to just quieten down.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I fully agree. I fully agree. This dopamine train that
Addiction.
we are trained to sit on,
Yeah.
and then it just brings us, we go into this cycle of we want instant gratification. We want instant gratification, and there's no time to sit, to reflect, to ponder, and that really takes us far away from where we really should go. I agree, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. I muted myself because the plane was flying across. um, yeah, and this one thing also. Yeah, just correct. Like even that the instant gratification it's also another thing. Like the act of back in the day when we had the VHS tape and we had to go and rewind the tape itself, right? That actually, even in that few 1 minute or few seconds, right, is a rest to the mind before you continue again. Now it's just constant bombarding of media in general. Like even now with my daughter also, I really it's definitely a challenge. Like it's a very big struggle even for myself to stop her or to disallow her to consume screen content, especially in the morning and before she sleeps. Because and I did this experiment with her as well. I let her watch 10-15 minutes before she goes to bed, right? I can hear the my in-laws complaining already. She's out of sorts. Yeah, immediately after that. Yeah. So it's a very real thing, I guess. All right. So coming back, okay, I think one of the questions that we really need to ask would be like, who or what designed this particular system that we are in right now? You know, whether or not right now, as we exist in 2025, it's getting noisier and we are detaching ourselves apart from the spiritual portion, but it's definitely still there, and there's definitely some progress on the end thanks to the new things that are being discovered constantly, you know. And going back to the comment that Jadamore 7282 has mentioned, now the Anunnaki is the one word that seems to ring a lot. And I think this one, Eugene and Dr. Yo will probably know more. Lah. So before I throw out a question, maybe we can kind of just go through who the Anunnaki really are and what was their contribution to the world that has made them be remembered even today.
Well, the Anunnaki was credited to be one of the earliest creators, and some of the evidence of that, and I use the word evidence loosely because it's still debated, came from the Emerald Tablet that still existed all the way from 4100 BCE, before Common Era. And beyond that, there is no other known evidence of any other civilization. So when we go with the creation theory, we're always trying to find who created us. The Emerald Tablet gave us some insight into that theory. So the Anunnaki actually came from Mesopotamia, and they were actually responsible, or they were responsible for creating the Sumerian culture. And who are these Anunnakis? Some people believe that they are gods or aliens coming from a different planet at a different time, cross Earth, and then they decide to land here and discover there's the abundance of gold. And they created, using mud and soil, to create humans. So we were not evolved from monkeys or fish. We were created from mud. Quite similar to the
Nice.
biblical story, right? God created us from mud, from dirt.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
they decide to use us as a slave race to build things, to mine for gold, and we then venerate them, these Anunnakis, as the divine. And there are two characters in the Anunnaki lore. There's Enki and his brother, which I can't remember offhand. I'm reading all. I'm recalling, pulling all this from memory, and
Enki
they
and Enlil.
Enki and Enli, right? They were brothers,
Yeah.
but Enli wanted to be a very powerful tyrant and abuse human. Enki was the more sympathetic one of the two. So you can have the Cain and Abel story that came up from that as well, where Enli tried to kill Enki. Enki fled Sumer and went to Egypt, and that's where he founded his own civilization. But instead of using men and abusing men as mortals, he wanted to elevate humans. So he hid all this ancient wisdom and history beneath Egypt. That was part of the mythology, at least lah. Yeah. So if we are going with the creation theory that a god has created, then we are asking which layer of God? God, the one consciousness that created the universe, or the gods that came down and created Earth? So
Mm.
many layers of reality here. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's just go through, because I have one specific belief system. I think it's interesting to share so that the audience can kind of comment what do they think is what is their belief on this.
Okay.
Maybe okay, Eugene, what was your sense, since you already on it already?
What's my sensing is there is a higher consciousness. There is that one creator, but he's so far up there, so benevolent. He just created this entire sandbox environment for us to play. When we mean us, I'm talking about humans, aliens, different entities within this universe that he has created. But because all these worlds are not created equal, like genes are not created equal as men, if you understand the Arabic law, God created both jinns and men. But jinns can live for thousands of years, they got magical powers. As men, we don't. So not everything within this world is created equal, right?
Okay.
And when some higher power come by to Earth, which is part of the sandbox playing field environment that the one has created, these enlightened beings become the god to men. So think of a Sim City simulation, right? Your Sims would view you as a player as God. Then you would view an alien as God. That alien probably view another evolved species or the higher consciousness of the universe as God.
Or depending on the level of power that they have, lah. If you are more
They-
powerful than me, you must be a god. Then.
Correct. So depending on which of the planes that you are playing with. So Earth is a playing field. Yeah. And so if Earth is a playing field, it's considered if we believe whatever that I said as a theory that can hold water, then Earth is then created by of man civilizations created by the Anunnakis. Yeah.
Okay.
That playing field. We are the Sims. They're the player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the Sims, one of the Sims has an ant colony.
Yeah.
And then to that ant colony, the C character is
It's got
Wow.
multiple levels already. I
This
love
is
that.
maybe of the Men in Black scene where I don't know which agent opened up the locker and then there's like an entire universe the
yeah.
locker.
Yeah. Men in Black 1 at the
I
train
can't
at
remember
the
it.
bus station.
Oh yeah, correct.
I would say that I have not much idea behind Anunnaki, although I've heard of it multiple times.
Yeah.
But sort of like today, I just read briefly, right? And then I realized that the comic that I and my son love a lot is called X-Venture, the Golden Age of Adventures. Inside they have the characters Akator and Akazane. And it turns out that, these characters come from Enlil and Enki as well. One that wants to side with humans and one that wants to destroy humans. I just find that, okay, now I know where that came from. Yeah, cool.
Okay. I think my personal belief would be that yes, there's one monotheistic God, and although yes, he may have created humans, say for example we follow according to the Bible, right? Right. However, I will also say that we are not just his only creation, even though in Bible humans are canon, but we are not the main characters in the story. So which means that if let's say we are not the main characters in the story, that will mean that God himself would have created all of this.
Yeah.
And whether or not these have existed along with humans back in the day is up in the air. Because we know that giants exist, we know that Nephilims exist, they know about things like the Watchers and so on and so forth, which would tell me that Bible itself is okay. I would say Bible itself is not honest about it, but more like it omitted the things that we don't need to know. But of course, if we want to go and find, it is all there, it is available. So do these things do the Anunnaki race exist? Do aliens exist? Do all of these beings exist? I would say yes. And I think even today we are the mystery of discovering them. I think it makes life more interesting lah.
I think we will talk about the Emerald tablets on a separate episode, right? But let's just dive in on that. So Anunnaki is also written by Zechariah Sitchin, and then I don't know how are they connected, but the Emerald tablets Thoth being one of the, I think it's the crane headed god, the Jyoti, who documents everything. And I just find it interesting how all of this is linked. And Eugene, do you have any ideas or thoughts on this?
Because I believe that based on the book, the Enki character went over to Egypt, and that's where he created some of this, or passed down the knowledge of some of these things. And the Egyptians, based on their culture, sees, represented what they understood based on the hieroglyphs and all that. Thoth is actually, I think Enki was credited to be Thoth. Was he called Thoth in the Egyptian law? Because he was a bearer of knowledge. I can't remember this offhand. I know Enki was no longer Enki after he left Sumerian. He was given a different name. The same way how the gods of Egypt, when they were taken over by the Greeks, had a different name. And then the Greeks went over. So that these gods existed, but evolved through the culture. And then again, the question is, these gods, are they gods, or are they aliens and the players of the Sims? So I'm believing that these are players of the Sims that we venerate as gods because they're so much higher power than us. And Thoth is the person that, or the deity that was credited with the halls of Amenti. He has hidden all the wisdom in the halls of Amenti, and it's at the right place, right time, that people can access this halls. And this hall is not accessed through a physical form, but through a mental astral form, and it's waiting for men to discover. So it could be that Enki / Thoth had hidden all this, like when they came here as aliens, because they were from a different time, a different future. They planted all this information here, but they knew that men at that slave race era was not evolved enough mentally to understand all this. You can't be a god yet, but we are evolving to be gods because we were made in his image, I suppose. So what Enki wanted to do was to allow every single soul created mortal to be able to live like one in time to come. When Enlil was like, no, we shouldn't have that. Yeah.
And then here something just popped into my mind about the Hermes Trismegistus,
Yeah.
which is also Thoth. And then how is that related to Enki? But perhaps we'll talk about this in a different episode. But just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, next thing. The Necronomicon.
Which we have the book. we have the book.
Gotta confuse them a bit. Necronomicon from the Evil Dead. It's real. No lah. Okay. Necronomicon, for those who may not know, is also known as the complete Anunnaki Bible. And it's a, let me see my notes here. Okay. So it has Sumerian records that speak of stargates, cosmic hierarchy, divine DNA alteration, and the Watchers, known as the Igigi. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm so sorry. Igigi. Is that correct? Yeah. Different Necronomicon. Not like the one, not the one from Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
I love it. When I first heard mention of this, I really thought like, oh, okay. So if we read up from it, we're going to bring the date back. We could.
Necromancer.
Yeah. Interesting. They call it Necronomicon. Is this like the English transliteration or what? Because the word necro, I understand, has to do with death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this case here is an Anunnaki Bible that talks about stargates.
I don't know. This one.
Okay, so with a book like this that exists, it will kind of tell us that, yeah, you could call it a religious book, or we could say that this is, in developer terms, the technical document of the system blueprints in that book. Have you read it already?
No, yeah. It's over at Stefan's house. I'm going to go and pick it up today.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see, today, this if Eugene go against it today, tomorrow the world
Tomorrow
unlock
zombies start to come out.
and then we know. Oh, Eugene, stop it lah.
Yeah, I'm hoping for you to be this book lah.
Yeah, that's the one in my brain all the time. Whenever you say that word.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say we go with the theory that the Necronomicon is a TD, technical document, right, that has system blueprints. And now I would say that the Anunnaki, maybe they were gods, or maybe they were engineers,
Yeah.
able to manage cosmic order, pass down geometry,
Yes.
maybe to the point that they are able to create humanity as a component of a larger
Yes.
control mechanism. So that's the theory that we're going with,
Yeah.
specifically based just on what the discovery of the what's beneath the pyramids.
Yeah. I
And
like that we are calling them engineers. I think that's a more appropriate term of how I see this
yeah,
god-like creatures. They are engineers coming down to do things within the sandbox environment.
yeah. So you know, a Southeast Asian parallel would be, how the kings over here in the region, they were ordained, by sky events or star readings. When they are doing that, so it's even similar to how the Chinese have observed 八字 in general. It's not just about what's happening on Earth. It's also very much related to when you were born during the solar cycle, the
Yeah.
lunar cycle, right? So all these star readings, sky readings, you know, are these also aligning to the same operating protocol that we now actually do have and is existing in a book called the Necronomicon?
Oh.
Okay, so what do you think, Eugene? Do you think these records are misunderstood technical
No.
manuals, or
Yeah, I believe they are technical because we're using the word technical manually. I'll use the human term as well. Technical manual, technical documentation, and like I mentioned just now, Enki and engineers, they were storing information to pass down to the next generation, and they decided that, like with any company, you have your good staff, your good employees, and your more talented employees. So the talented employees then get raised up to management level, the same way how some of these soil created mortals showed free will and talent were raised up to become leaders of men, therefore God given rights to be kings, because they were supposed to hold on to this information and pass down to people. And as we all know, human cannot take all this information at once. There'll be pandemonium. So these God kings, God appointed kings, or the great engineer appointed kings, they are to hold on to this information because it's their responsibility to give it to humankind. But humans having free will over time also became selfish, became tyrants, and not all kings are good kings. So 7,000 years have passed since then. Or how many? No, more than that. How many thousand years? Four plus two, 7,000 years have passed since then, and we are looking at some of the lost knowledge, and that's why some people say they are waiting for these great engineers to come back around again, and they. If they are truly gods, then I suppose they can come back anytime they want, willy nilly lah. But even then, gods have their own agendas and their rules. But if these are space aliens, they're going through Stargate, then it's only a 2,000 year cycle that they can appear once. So that's why sometimes they say they're waiting for the one to come back to wrong the right, because we as a human race is trying to, we need our savior to come and tell us what to do.
Wow, then it connects back to how we are now in the age of Pisces.
Yeah.
We are at what 1,500. We still got another 500 years lah. I guess maybe unless we figure a way out to live for another 400 years.
So Jade Moray was talking about four worlds, right?
Yeah.
So there were three other civilizations, three other versions of this world before us. But this current version that we are in, this 7,000 years, it's they credited it to the Anunnakis lah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the, let's say, uh, the manual to interpret the world, and what if there was like one a master article, technical document,
Yeah.
but then like at IKEA, when you want to buy a furniture, you want to self-assembly, you look at the manual, then
Yeah.
there's the different languages, right?
Yeah.
English, Malay, Chinese, whatever. But what if this master technical document was translated into different cultures in a different way?
Oh,
So it looks different, but it's customized to the local culture, religion,
Yeah.
their cultures, their traditions, and then
from
yeah.
Yeah.
What if that's the case?
then it's very difficult to tell who's right, who's wrong.
No, there's
I
no
guess-
right and wrong because it's all the same technical document. It's just customized to a local belief.
No, but I think what you're trying to say is that if you were to translate it from like people who translate it, they translate it according to their own lens, and their lens is filtered by their own culture. Then it becomes a different meaning.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah, yeah. Because like for example, let's say for example, if a Christian or a Buddhist were to translate it from their lens, it will come out entirely different.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Yeah, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with
I
that.
mean, case in point, you got recipe books, right? So recipe books get passed down to different generations. That's what the recipe book is for. Great grandma's magic stew passed down. But you try taking that same recipe and then say you fly over to UK using the different water is water, right? But not all water tastes the same. That's what I learned as well. And not all plants, vegetable taste the same as well because of the water that they're watered in. The soup is going to taste very much different from grandma's soup. And because you're in a new area with whatever ingredient that you have, different climate, different taste buds, you may over time add in or change and take out grandma's recipe. But the stew is still the main stew. It's just going to taste different from a UK stew and a Malaysian stew.
Yeah, dude. The positioning of the sun different, dude. The taste different.
correct. So that's why when we look at parts, we look at astrology, the geography of your place of birth matters in your reading. So if all cultures are as one, then geography no matter lah. Where you're born no matter, right? Just take birthday and time can already. But where you're born in the world, in that current position, matters. So I do believe that when it comes to the technical document being translated down to different culture around the world, it is designed to fit that area. It's not a one size fit all. But then humans become egoistic like this. My version is right. You try to take your version and you try to live in Antarctica, you're not going to survive. So you cannot say your version is right. Your version is right to where you are at that place in time.
Yeah, they should update this especially for like pregnancy confinement.
Yeah, the whole don't bathe 1 month thing, right? I don't know how.
Yeah, walao eh. No, my friend said that his wife went through it. Wow, it's terrible, no. Singapore climate 1 month don't bathe. Oh my天. Cannot aircon some more.
Yeah. Oh man.
Wow, he said he had to stay in different room.
Just imagine you're breastfeeding the child. Walao, child get food poisoning.
That's why lah. Aiyo.
Extra salt. Salt's not good for the baby. Okay, water tier. Let's move on. We are almost at 1 hour. We are at the 1 hour mark already, guys.
Okay. This is okay. Last one. Okay. Now, so when it comes to that being a technical manual, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that they installed the spiritual hierarchies? Yeah, and they programmed that in this specific way. Or do you think like they were downloading from an even higher power? Because they're engineers, right? Engineers can be engineers on their own accord. They decide that they want to allow humans to have fun as well. So some people can unlock these things. Or is it that this is the instruction from top down that you are the engineers, you're allowed to do this, but when you do it in this way, you must allow this spiritual portion to happen also.
No, I think it's free will, guys. I think even aliens got free wills, or demigods got free wills, or great architects got free will. So think of it as Sims. Think of it as Roblox or Minecraft. Minecraft very popular now, right? The great god of gods have created Minecraft. You, as the great architect, can use the Minecraft world to create whatever you want. And the people in your Minecraft room can do whatever they want. They can walk around within the constraints of what you have created. But each level have its own idea and version of free will.
Yeah, correct. But then, would you allow your Minecraft NPCs to unlock things that would enter into your dimension?
Oh, enter into my dimension.
Yeah, that's the thing. You
Okay,
see,
as
so
a
that's the question.
as a uh, as a God creator wanna be myself, I think I would lean more towards Enki and wanting my creation to elevate itself to be like me. The same way when I teach my students or I teach my child or I'm imparting knowledge to SC community, the intention is not to pin you down or hold you below my level. It is to elevate everyone, if you can, to be at my level and better yet, beyond my level, because the world can only improve if you have more greatness.
Wow.
I know some Chinese teachers, they believe that the master only teach the students 70%. I don't subscribe to that. I'm more of the Enki one. I give. Whether you can handle it or not, but I do hope that you'll be better than me and your next generation will be better than you as we go forward. I want that growth. Yeah. So I would create it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, we have evolved this question into: do you think Enki and who's the other one?
Enlil. Enlil.
And little.
Earlier, right? Do you think like one? Okay, do you think like Enki is the one who, because is a sympathizer, right? The one who created this, then behind Elio's back now.
I think so lah. That's what no, honestly, that's what I believe lah. Because when you mention Anunnaki, I'm like, oh, that's my that's my shtick, right? I totally subscribe to that creation theory, and I do believe that he has behind Enlil's back, planted all this backdoor. He has planted the codes within our reality so that we can find and type it out.
Huh?
Dr. Young?
Yeah, I still go back to the Sims, and within the Sims there's a player control character and there are NPCs, and then is asking from the NPC point of view, what is the player doing? And we talk about, and then it's like, oh, I cannot understand the machinations of one dimension above me, but what if there's the dimension above me has another dimension? Then it's like, it gets mind-boggling. Yeah.
Okay lah. Shall we save the rest for another?
Yeah. I think that'll be
We can,
yeah.
Okay, preview of the next one. We have belief, emotion, ritual as commands. Are we able to use all these like user input, consciousness as an interface, and also the sister reset itself. This one is going to be fun. This one has the Hopi prophecy in it. So, listeners out there, if you don't want to be confused by me, like today, you can go and read out a little bit, and then we'll discuss. Comment to give us your opinion as well. All right.
We're so into geek territory.
No, I would say we're getting more comfortable.
Yeah. I hope the audience are enjoying this as well, because I can, as the start of this series, this is episode 11 already. At the start of the series, we said it's not meant for everyone. And I think those that remains, I can see the number. We have like 2,000 views, then 1,008, 1,007, 1,005. Now we are, the numbers are dropping. But at the same time, the comments are higher quality as well. Those who watch and enjoy really do enjoy it. And we came to this Strange World series with no illusions that this is going to be 100,000 view. Or even to match with a Friday Night Live or a featured confession view. We know it's not, but God, we three love to geek out on topics like this, and we would have done this conversation with or without you guys watching anyway over drinks. So we thought, why not just have this recorded so that those who enjoy along with us, because the 1,000 of you are the chosen ones.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. And along with me, that's Dr. Yong and Mary Mike saying goodbye.
Bye.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.